And it's Friday Night Live. Hey, David, g'day. How you doing? Oh, Friday night, the weekend. Where's my, oh no, look, I thought my drink had gone funny. You know, I've been doing too much milk curdling. I think I want some more ice in here, actually. I smelled it. I was drinking Pepsi earlier. I like a very cold drink. I'm going to get another block of ice. My big ice cube trays. Okay, why is the ice stuck in the cube tray? Ice cube stuck in the tray. There we go. That's a bit more like it. Flip that sucker. All right. And hello, Miguelich and Stella. Nice to see you. Hope we're all winding down. Although if you have to work on the weekend, hope that's not too bad for you as well. Yeah, we can sail into the weekend now. The week behind us. Hey, Annette, no, I'm not looking very formal. I wore like my formal Friday gear, I think, 2 or 3 times this week so I could shoot videos. So I eased off tonight. If you know the public demands it, maybe I'll go and put on formal clothes. David, every time you see me drink, think of Blackadder, great booze up. Oh, yes, that was the line. Great booze up. Yes, no, it's we were referring to our friend whose name is Great Boo, and he had been sleeping. Now he's up, therefore, Great Boo's up. Line Spider, hello to you. Yes, for those who missed it, I posted my clarified paper plane cocktail video. Haven't drunk it yet. I sipped it. I had a tasty sip for the video, but actually saved it. I'm going to drink it a bit later. I'll show you the difference between a paper plane as it would normally be, which is dark brown, and a milk clarified paper plane, which is almost clear. It's very, very light yellow color in it. And yeah, although I knew that's how it worked, and this is like the second successful one I've done, it still amazes me the difference milk clarification makes. And yeah, I just think it's fun doing something like that and getting it happening. So, but I'll show you. Yeah, I want to milk clarify all the drinks now. I'm thinking of one in particular, the one that I was talking about potentially making, the Trinidad Sour, which is 1.5 shots of Angostura bitters, which is pretty full on for something that you normally only put a few drops of in a drink. To say, no, we're going to do 1.5 shots of bitters in this drink. That might lend itself particularly well to being clarified via the milk punch method. It would probably make quite a good comparison, actually. Something that's going to have such distinctive taste. How different is a milk clarified version to a normal one? Yes, Megalich, I agree. It sounds like a euphemism. I'm going to milk clarify all over you. I could get so much worse, so much worse, and I will try and behave, and we'll see what happens. I'm not actually expecting us to see Aidsy tonight because I haven't heard from him at all today. I did send the link to his email and texted him just in case he was match ready, as it were. But I'm not really predicting that we'll see him tonight. Linespotter, you like putting a drop or two of Angostura bitters straight on the tongue. It's a very strong taste. Oh God, Stella, you're pretty sure you've heard that Mega Leech line. Want to milk clarify all over you. Yes. I think I've told the story before about going to one of my favourite shops here in Melbourne, the Bitters Lab, where I get a lot of cocktail equipment from, and bitters. They have, I think it's safe to say, hundreds of sorts of bitters there from dozens of makers. And so that's where I got those big tiki mugs I use, and a couple of my specialty drinks that I have yonder come from the Bitters Lab. They're mostly barware and bitters, and they have books on cocktails as well. They also have things like syrups and shrubs that you use for flavoring cocktails, and they have a small selection of spirits, aperitifs, and liqueurs, but a very special selection. And they recommend, like, if you want to try out the bitters, they recommend you taste them. But I don't know, it burns out my taste buds really quickly. They give you this funny little spoon thing, like don't put the dropper in your mouth, because not all, but most bitters bottles have an eyedropper in them to control how much you put in. And no, don't put the dropper in your mouth. You have this little plastic spoon thing, and you put a drop onto that and take it off the spoon. And I was just smelling the bitters, and the person working there, she says, no, you should actually put it on your tongue. And I was like, that seems a bit full on. No, that's how you tell. And so I did that with about 6 different sorts of bitters as I was walking around. But it just burnt out the taste buds on my tongue. I couldn't taste anything. It's just like, no, that's just strong and burny. And I got something home. But the fun upside is, for the rest of the day, whenever I drank something, it was flavored by bitters, because my tongue was impregnated with these bitters. And I'm not joking, it was good. Like, having a bit of, the old Pepsi Max later in the day, it's like, ooh, now it's got new and interesting flavors blended into it. So yes, while honestly I couldn't taste the difference between the bitters particularly, they just overwhelmed my tongue. I did get the benefit of having everything for the rest of the day flavored with bitters. And hey, there are worse things in this world. Yes. And I hardly ever use the bitters. I have a slightly impulsive nature. Good, I'm getting that. And so I've ended up with, I've got a dozen sorts of bitters over there, which is silly. It's just silly. But I have, as I said, an impulsive nature, and I see things, I'm going to buy one of them. I have to remember every time I think that bitter sounds interesting. You don't need bitters. You've got too many bitters. Annette, you're back. Nice to see you back. Oh, Jesus, Lion Spider, you called ginger a tongue cleanser? No. Oh, Jesus, I wouldn't. I don't like ginger anyway. But that's just a different strong taste. I mean, in the French restaurants, they give you a palate cleanser between courses. It's usually a neutral sorbet. It's designed to cleanse the palate. Something as strongly flavored as ginger is not going to cleanse the palate, at least not in my book. Oh, you're still binging Freud. Okay. Oh, and you really liked it. Yeah, I did watch the trailer for that with Mrs. Angry, and it didn't grab either of us, but I'll tell her that you're a very strong recommender of it, Annette. Not that we've run out of things to watch, but it's It's always good to have something. Mine's by, do you reckon Japanese used ginger? You don't know how they prepare it, but it works well. Well, there you go. There are more mysteries in heaven and earth than dreamed of in my philosophy, apparently. So, okay, it didn't grab you at first either in it, but it gets there. Oh, the trouble is, for Mrs. Anger, it might be a bit much like work because she's a psychologist, and she might end up sort of picking it apart, going, "Well, that's dumb. It doesn't work like that. That's not going to happen." David, you don't like ginger either? Yeah, I was talking to a Facebook friend. They're like, yeah, okay, I got my Friday night drinks on, and it was coffee Negroni. So, like, two of my least favorite things, as in things I won't indulge in a cocktail: coffee and bloody. I got Campari. I was about to say, I always blank it out of my brain because I dislike it so much. Campari. I really can't come at Campari. Okay, so Annette rates Freud as fun, gory, creative, and psycho. Okay. Do you want to get the curry or something? No? Okay, it's snacky time in the kitchen. Okay, Mega Leech loves ginger. Dave, you don't like sarsaparilla. I'm pretty sure it's a very long time since I've tasted sarsaparilla, but I'm pretty sure I don't like sarsaparilla or root beer. I'm pretty sure I don't like either of those. Or ginger beer. Don't like any of those. It's just funny that there was a brand. I think it's Japanese sarsaparilla that was just called SARS, and so we've got Corona, the beer, having a bad rap in the current virus. SARS having a bad rap a few years ago. Oh, okay, Stella, you're best friends with ginger. Mrs. Angry also likes ginger for alleviating motion sickness. Yes. I like that. The Freud TV series is set prior to his well-known career when he's young and annoying everyone with experimentation. And yes, David, I believed Freud was quite the drug pig. I believe that to be the case. He's dead and can't sue me for defamation. So I'm just going to straight up saying he was mad for the drugs. Okay, so I like that, Annette. Mash the personalities Freud and Carl Jung together, you get all the weirdness and lots of cocaine. Okay. You know what? It's Friday night. I'm going to break out my cocktails. I'll show you. I don't know if you remember me talking about all my different skull decanters the other night. These are my small skull decanters. And okay, these are both paper plane. These are the same ingredients. This is what it looks like normally. It's sort of dark red brown because it's got bourbon, a red aperitif, and brown Amaro in it. So you get that very red-brown color. And then I did the milk clarification on it. And it's this almost translucent, it's almost transparent yellow. It's very light yellow. It's more orangey yellow on screen than in real life. In real life, it's very pale. So, oh God, David with the dad jokes. Carl Jung had a talent show, Young Talent Time. You have to be an Australian of a particular age to get that. Okay, Richard's seen the Freud series too. It's all, have some cocaine. It'll help cure you. It's that joke that everyone says is on the internet, like, man, being a doctor in old-timey West would have been fantastic. You know, someone comes to you for anything and you just go, I don't know, you got ghosts in your blood. Here, take some cocaine for it. Oh, wow, Annette, it's your birthday. 3 Black Russians and a Gothic psychodrama finale already. Now what? Well, I'm having a paper plane. Actually, I should do the clarified one first because this one's going to be a more bitter flavour. It's quite a bitter cocktail, you know, in a good way. If you like bitter drinks, it's good to mix up, I think, to not just have sweet cocktails all the time. But this is milk clarified or milk punch clarified version. Tastes almost like wine. It's more bitter than most wines. But considering this has got bourbon in it, I can't taste bourbon at all. It seriously, it has a really grapey flavor. And yeah, the strongest notes are the bitter ones, which is hardly surprising because of how bitter the ingredients were. So, oh, okay. And Richard was watching with you on Netflix Party. Okay, cool. Yes, David Heroin was in Cough Medicine by Bayer. That's true. This has got a more lasting bitter. This is a nice. If you can deal with bitter, some people just don't like bitter drinks at all. In which case this wouldn't be. Yeah, it's okay. It's bitter drinks are usually an acquired taste anyway. This one initially tastes. This is weird. This one initially tastes sweeter, but has a longer bitter aftertaste. So. And I don't really get the like dry wine flavor in this one. It's a bit sweeter. They're both good. I'm still absolutely fascinated with how the milk curd just filters the color out there. So, Lines by the uncle stored collector's white under his house. His wife never liked alcohol in the house. Gave away the wine after she died of cancer. Wow, a lot of wine. Okay. Annette. Okay, your pishk is all you've eaten today's petty fours. Okay, that sounds a bit sus. That's an interesting one, Annette. Use the Pepsi Max creaming soda in your Black Russians. Oh, wow. Get you a bit more hyped up. Yes. Yes, it's it is. Yeah, it's Friday. Doesn't hurt. You're going to be pissed on a Friday, really? Locust Trooper, is AZ going to be on? Not that likely. Actually, I think I ran the battery down on my phone. I just put it on to charge. Let me see if I can switch it back on. Oops. I did get a message. No, go away. Go away, Siri. What the fuck is this? He did actually send me a message, but it was one of his trademark stream of consciousnness garbled messages. So I don't know. Yes, Annette, you should dress up. Okay, if you dress up, I'll go and dress up too. I'll disappear temporarily and dress up for Formal Friday. Lecture Troop, is that an iPhone 11? I don't remember. It's like a generation or two. Oh gosh, Annette, you're not meant to come out of your bedroom till you get a text saying you don't have the Rona. My word. So you got tested recently, I assumed. David, you're admiring the it was Hugo Boss designed the Nazi uniforms, wasn't it? Was that a bit weird? Yo, Frank, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Yes. For those who don't know or don't realize or didn't notice the name I gave the live stream, today is the 75th anniversary of VE Day, Victory in Europe. The day Winston Churchill announced Nazi Germany's unconditional surrender. So we're celebrating the 75th anniversary of Nazis are losers. And anyone still espousing that pathetic ideology is an even bigger loser. People could see me through the window. Well, it's the backyard, and then there's a high fence. Technically, I think there are some, because there's a 2-story house behind me. Technically, there are some windows, I think, on the second floor that if someone went to them and stood on tippy toes, they might be able to see me. But they wouldn't really see much, so all right. That's a good bit of trivia, Frank. Hugo Boss did the Nazi uniforms and also the Third Reich ones. Sorry, he did the Nazi ones and the Starship Troopers uniforms because they were, of course, fascists in Starship Troopers. Yeah, that's a fair call, David. Poland would be like, how's my luck? Fuck my life. Got invaded by the Nazis, finally got rid of them, occupied by the Soviets. Several decades of not good. That was easy. What's he saying? Okay. He reckons he will. So maybe sometime in the next half hour? Who knows? Lion Spider, are you looking over the fence? Yeah, apparently Hugo knows how to design. It's kind of like, should you feel guilty if you drive a Mercedes-Benz? Is that a Nazi car? And of course, the Volkswagen Beetle was people's car, notoriously, supposedly championed by Hitler. Foxes in the backyard. No, I think I'm too close to the city for foxes. In Deer Park. Yeah. Okay, that's a bit unexpected getting them in Deer Park, but I can see it. That's right, David. Fanta was a Nazi drink. They weren't allowed to get Coke, and they came up with an alternative, and that was Fanta. And Fanta's nothing like Coke, which is very weird. Yes, and the fascists are into snappy uniforms, definitely. Richard, that's a good point. Henry Ford was a raving anti-Semite. Thought the Nazis had some good ideas, I think. Quite championed some of their ideas in the 20s. I mean, to me, the hilarious thing, Henry Ford, uber capitalist, anti-Semite. Oh, he must have been terrible to people. But no, he had this really practical view of the world as a capitalist, that the people who worked for him had to earn enough money to buy the products. So he didn't try and put people on starvation wages like we see with people like Jeff Bezos today, having people work in such a way they're barely removed from being slaves. Henry Ford thought that attitude was stupid because it's not sustainable. Henry Ford wanted his capitalism to be sustainable. Oh, look who's here. Like a bolt out of the blue. It's Daisy.
Hello, how you going? How you going? How you going?
Eating a sandwich.
Go on the Scum Fund Me page that Angry's setting up for my 50th birthday that's coming up.
Oh
It's
yeah.
going to be good. You should do that. And I know stuff. I just saw something about the SAS and the Wehrmacht. I am so into the SAS and the Wehrmacht. You would be very disturbed about how much I know about those guys.
Well, I'm disturbed about so many things about you. So your knowledge about the Wehrmacht and their haute couture is not even that big a surprise to me. So
Mm, mm. You know where all this came from?
where?
When I was in Catholic high school, we were made to read a book called The Odessa File,
Right.
which is about a Nazi escape route through to South America and how they try and shut it down. And effectively, there's this, one kid who whose father is asked by his commanding officer, "Oh, what does your son do for the for the for the Deutschland?"
Yes.
And he said, "Well, he is a writer of manuscripts and what do they call it? The fine writing, the fancy writing,
Calligraphy.
calligraphy.
Yeah.
He's a calligraphic writer." And he was embarrassed about it because, there's all these guys on fucking tanks and planes and stuff.
Yeah.
And this guy's making very pretty letters.
Mm.
And and the general goes, "Oh, that's fucking awesome because we've got um, a fucking wedding coming up. So we're going to need that. So we're going to need his skills."
Yeah.
Turned out it wasn't that. It was, in fact, documents to get them out of
Ah.
Germany and
Yeah.
to get them into South America. Ooh, naughty. Piss. And then our guy had to follow the Nazis around the world because it's got to be that music, right? With polyester suits going on.
Yeah.
Hey, sir, do you want to see how big my hair is? Please don't smoke near it because it'll burn down the plane. And
Right.
it's called The Odessa File. It's a really
Yeah.
good read. And yes, it reminded me today of that very thing of
Yeah.
being open to calligraphy. So yeah, um, calligraphy is going to be a thing. I wanted to talk about so much tonight,
Yeah.
and I want you guys to absolutely get behind this new computer thing
Yeah.
because I reckon it's going to be really cool for all of us because it looks like we've got the other two going, which is going to be really cool to have all three of them going at once.
Yeah.
Meaning we're going to have attack force, angry, and effectively it'll be good.
Mm.
So tell me where we're at and what do we want?
Okay, well, where we're at is we haven't started yet. So I suppose
Oh,
this
right.
weekend I should look into what would be the best crowdfunding platform to go for. I mean, I just said GoFundMe because that's just one I know the name of. So I'll have to get on the socials this weekend because I know people who know things. So I'll ask. I'll describe what we're trying to do and ask which is the best platform to use,
Mm.
and and yeah, then we'll just either tell a sad story and say they should help you, or some of these things you do, like if someone gives you some money, what are you going to do for them? And send them nudes or something. And
can I also say to you, call me mother.
okay.
Coordinate this with
you
her.
but I'll call your mother from now on.
Yeah, call me mother, because she and her will be able to organise from each end of New South Wales and Victoria. So she's going to be right with the crowd up north, and you'll be right with the crowd down south. And so that'll make everything easier. Try and make everything easier for everyone.
Yeah.
And my brother, who poor bastard, is always in the firing line for a lot more money than I am, said, get a computer, get something cheap, but not shit. So we're going to try and get a balance.
And that's the other thing. I'll talk to some technical people about what things should you actually get, because you get some of those hybrid laptops now that you can actually sort of fold out and use as a tablet, and then you can sit them down with a keyboard and go tappy 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 as well. But I'm gonna talk to some technological gifted people and see what they recommend for you for the ease of getting on to interwebs. And we'll take it from there. We'll have a target and say we want this, and we want people to help out with whatever they can. And so yes, and we'll try and network anyone that you all still in contact with. Oh, there's a Facebook group for theatre media alumni.
Wow.
Might get some support from that. I'll post it there and say there's got to be some people here who know this filthy manky man and feel like flipping him a bob or two.
Tell him that he wants this, but please also send anything with an azepam in the end of it. Valium, temazepam, clonazepam, anything like that. Just pack it in a bubble pack and straight into a post box. It'd be fine. Yes, it'd be good to see the guys actually. So we should have an event here when we get the opportunity, just a hello event, and we might not be able to get together. We might not be able to be allowed to get together.
Although it's looking
it's
looking like if nothing goes wrong, certainly by summer we would be able to. Some places might be allowing groups of 100 by July.
That's not clever.
It might. Well, they're doing it in stages. One stage of relaxation, wait 3 weeks, which is about the incubation period of the Rona. See if there's been a surge in cases. If there hasn't been a surge in cases, okay, relax things a bit more. Wait 3 weeks. Has there been a surge in cases? If yes, okay, throttle back a bit. If no, okay, loosen up a few more things. So if they all went flawlessly and we had no unmanageable surge in cases, the projection is certainly by the end of July, have things where you're allowed to have 100 people together.
Wow. That's full on.
Stella says she had a multitude of azepams, but they've done fuck all for her insomnia.
Stella, don't you worry about that. Just you packaging them up. and send them to the PO box that Angry's got,
Mm.
and we'll go from there. Thanks, sweetie. That'd be great.
Yeah. We'll send you a special package in response.
We will.
Yeah.
There we are. Sorry that I'm eating again.
That's okay.
I've been swapping some things out for other things monetarily, and food again has been one of the things that has been swapped in and out. And so, because boss of the house came around to say hi, he brought some dinner with him, so that was
Oh,
really
that's
nice. So I'm
yeah.
eating it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working out how to try and uh, extort dinner from my friends tomorrow,
Yeah. All right.
but I don't have to now because I can go for a few days on this.
Uh, Also, just as trivia, I don't know if you remember what I was doing last night with the milk clarification of a cocktail.
Yes, yes, yes,
This is the unclarified. This is a cocktail called a paper plane. It's got
yes.
uh, bourbon, a red aperitif in it, and a brown amaro. So it's a very red brown, very strong color, very bitter. This is the same one having gone through the clarification.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Now the skulls can kiss.
Wow.
I'm obsessed with milk clarification at the moment.
Yeah. Bloody. How did I don't know how the chemistry works. Which
It's it. The only thing it added is milk. You basically pour this into milk. The alcohol and citrus that's in it, because there's lemon juice in it too, makes the milk curdle. Sort of stir it and let it sit for a while till the curds are well and truly formed, and then you filter it. And the curds actually sink to the bottom of, like I used a coffee filter. The curds sink to the bottom, and they do the heavy filtering, and the actual milk curds filter the color and a lot of the sort of sharpness out of the taste. And so you get this almost clear drink come out. And yeah, it takes a lot of the hard edges off the drink.
and that's what it is there now.
Yeah, that is literally this.
Yep.
Mix this with milk, then filter
Yep.
it, and you get this. Nothing else, just milk.
And how is it? How's it coming down?
It's good. It's good. I mean, this is a good drink anyway. It's quite a bitter one. You have to like bitter drinks. The clarified one takes the edge off the bitterness. It brings up some different flavors. Like it almost tastes like dry wine to me.
Yeah.
Very grapey flavor, and then the bitterness comes through at the end. This one, much stronger bitter notes in it. So this is basically calmed down the bitterness. But this has got a shot of bourbon in it. I can't taste any bourbon at all in this. But it's an amazing bit of chemistry in action, where the simple process of adding milk completely changes it.
Can you remember the concrete mixer?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a similar process?
Oh, actually, I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
It was basically a slow mixer with milk, and I think vodka and a liqueur of your choice, and it would milk or cream, and then it grind up into a lumped up, curdled up mass
Right.
of drink. I've just said drink there, and not other things that I could have said.
Yeah.
Um, and it was massively popular, I remember. And then
Yeah.
I remember people having to run away from the bar
Okay.
after having consumed it. I think after a while it was a dare to
Okay.
have a concrete mixer when it was obviously that you weren't going to pull for the night. You'd
Okay.
get your concrete mixer and go. Yeah.
So that was clearly actually mixing the milk in. So you're actually getting the curds and it's turning a sludgy thing like concrete. Whereas this one, you actually let the curds settle and filter through. So it's the same basis,
Yeah.
but yeah, the concrete mixer, you actually mixed it all up. So it was a
Yeah.
gross, lumpy thing that looked like concrete.
And the timing is different as well.
Hmm.
And as you know, in alcohol mixing, timing is often everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with this one, when you're doing the milk punch, the milk clarification, you leave it just sit for half an hour so the curds form, and then you filter it. And depending the volume you're talking about, it can easily take an hour or more to filter. And then, yes, rather than getting this lumpy concrete thing, you get this incredibly smooth and clear thing.
It is kind of amazing the chemistry of alcoholism, alcoholism,
Yes.
alcohology.
Yeah.
I know they used to call it beerology. What was the other one? Alcoholology.
Spiritology.
Could be, but it was whatever you need for making cocktails and fancy party
Mixology.
drinks. Mixology. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah. The virtual industry that
Yes.
goes on around and near mixology is a thing that is a special and wondrous
Ooh.
place of the
So,
mind and the imagination. Okay.
and that's got dressed up for Formal Friday. I think you should invite her in to share stage with us.
Absolutely.
Frankie's saying he's into fuckology, so yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It can happen.
Lucas Troop has been telling us he lives out in Deer Park, where there's a bit of wildlife and a creek and everything, and the number of snakes and stuff he used to see when he was at school in the area. It's almost semi bushland out there in Deer Park. It's definitely, it used to be the absolute perimeter of Western Melbourne. Now housing stretches a lot further west than Deer Park these days, but only a decade or two ago, Deer Park was the absolute perimeter of Western Melbourne. So it was definitely wildlife central. He's saying they're seeing foxes around Deer Park at the moment. No foxes in Caulfield, but
They're seeing foxes in Canberra. Just every morning.
yeah.
They're just puddling along the parks and gardens, of which there are many.
Yeah.
And
And
my
here's Annette.
brother.
Hi.
Hello.
Look, I've got pearls on. Hello there.
That was really funny. The box suddenly springing into life. Oh, very well done. Very well done.
Well done, sweetie.
Definitely got me. I didn't see that.
Just as I was trying to show off my pearls, I think I look like I deserve a position in Margaret Thatcher's cabinet.
Ah, yes. Very, very fashionable with the fur and the pearls.
For the 80s.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
What
and a
did they-
tiara. Forgot about my tiara.
Wasn't
There we
there a stink about at one point she was wearing Australian pearls because she didn't know that they were Australian pearls. And then when she found out they were, of course, they were inferior and had to be removed immediately. And it was the first time that she changed her costume from morning to afternoon for about 100 years. Yeah, weirdly enough, 15, 20 years later, Western Australian pearls were very hip and very in. It's what everyone wanted.
Yep. Well, I don't know. That's not a story I've heard, so I don't know. But Thatcher was a bit of a
I
weird.
don't know. Having straw wars here. Stop it.
Yeah. Stella thinks you don't look homicidal enough to be in Maggie Thatcher's cabinet.
Me?
We might have an axe. Do we have an axe, darling? I don't think we do.
Just
I agree.
I'm going to start bringing an axe around.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
don't think you need it.
Darling, go find me a weapon. Don't call me that. Darling.
I
Yeah.
don't think you need a weapon for a Thatcher cabinet. I think there's a heap of different things. The first
Yes, what would one need? A tiara, clearly.
House of Cards, the first British House
Yeah.
of Cards,
Yes.
was a wonderful piece of
Yeah.
That was.
political
I saw it.
maneuvering.
Yeah.
And
You may very well think that, but I could not possibly comment.
Yes,
His
you
little
might think that.
catchphrase. He was such a. The thing is, that was a book before it was a TV series, and I read the book, and he killed off Francis Urquhart at the end of the book because he's such a bastard. He thought Francis Urquhart does. Oh, that's a good weapon, a cat.
A black cat.
Thought Francis Urquhart deserved to die, so he killed him off at the end of the book. And of course, the BBC didn't kill him at the end of the first series. And because it went well, the BBC actually approached the guy and said, "Do you want to write a sequel?" And he said, "Okay, I'm going to write a sequel." So he writes a sequel, and he kills Francis Urquhart in the sequel because he's like, "Okay, they'll let me kill him now." BBC adapt it. They don't kill Francis Urquhart at the end of the sequel series. And so they say, "Okay, it's still popular. Do you want to write a third one?" And the guy goes, "Fine, I'll write a third one." He writes a third one, and he's sick of the BBC not following through when he kills Francis Urquhart. So Francis Urquhart survives in the third book. What happened in the third BBC series? Francis Urquhart gets killed. The BBC were just fucking with him, basically.
Yeah. It happens all the time. It happens here in Australia too. Is that they'll wander through burping out their lunch. 3 bottles of very nice Western Australian fat red, and bloody about 6 pounds of cocaine, and about half a kilo of jar bud. And so,
Wait, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're a adult. You can do with yourself what you want, but that's a lot of playtime. And there's a lot of people who wouldn't have a very understanding opinion of what you're doing. So I had to effectively learn how to stop a door for long enough to get the client out of the security, and it's not something that I'd want to have to do every day.
No, no,
Definitely.
there are a lot of things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's yeah, it,
It's a thing.
it's a beautiful, it's a thing, it's a thing.
I love
Um,
Richard's comment about Thatcher's weapons because she was an analytical chemist. She just used chemical warfare.
yeah.
She's not going to have an axe or a knife. She's just going to, I don't know, poison gas someone.
Yeah, and be quite happy to do it.
Yeah.
Because she understands it. And a lot of these politicians get quite paranoid towards the end of their run. And so as a result, they want increasingly to do only the thing that they understand and only the thing that they understand to a point where they can make it go.
Yeah.
I have no other explanation for it other than leave it in the car.
Well, she could be. Thatcher could have been justified for being paranoid because the IRA almost got her twice. They got her mentor with a car bomb when she'd just been talking to him, and there's a non-zero chance she might have got in the car with him, and then they both would have been gone. But she didn't get in the car, and he drove off, and his car exploded. And then, of course, the most dramatic one, the Tory convention at the hotel in Brighton, and the IRA detonated a huge bomb in the hotel that took out an enormous chunk, killed a couple of the people there, didn't get Thatcher. So she could be somewhat justified in being paranoid because there were definitely people out to get her.
Yeah.
Bit scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit stressed.
So, yeah, Locust Trooper, I live in Caulfield, so there's considerably less wildlife here in Caulfield than there is in Deer Park. We get birds. We got like rainbow lorikeets, lots of magpies for some reason, and occasionally cockatoos. But yes, our dominant wildlife here is possums. There are always possums here. There are possums in my goddamn roof. Occasionally hear them running from one end of the roof to the other. But that's about it for wildlife around here, possums and birds.
They're smart too. I think they know that they're freaking us out.
They know to freak us out. They make the same noise. They're like cats. They make the same noise when they're fighting as they do when they're having sex. So
Are
if
you
you
talking about possums?
No, I'm talking about you, but that's okay.
Because I was thinking about nuclear, radioactive breakdown. But fair enough. If you want to go with strontium 90, that's on you.
Radioactive possums.
Well, yeah. Wouldn't that make them better?
I did have a friend who was a chronic smoker, and he had the manhole above his bed at his bed sit. It had a possum in there who, when he was either really very stoned or asleep, he would come along and peg things at him from the manhole in the roof until he woke up.
What a bastard! Because you'd be really off your guts to make it worthwhile. You'd have to be completely off your guts. Like, I don't know if you guys saw my last performance here, but I had very, very bad ankle pain and very, very bad shoulder and neck pain, and so I gave myself a little bit of extra anaesthetic. I was
got a bit sleepy.
I just got a bit sleepy because I haven't been sleeping very well, and so I was doing this and got taken advantage of by an opossum who basically came into my house, my flat, through an opening. I'm not gonna say which one, but this
Oh,
opossum
no.
came into my flat through an opening, and I feel like I should be wearing my Sunday best in the dock in front of Your Honour, with a downward cast Christian woman's sadness, knowing that I'm ruined, so I may as well just tell the truth. So this opossum has wandered, and I wake up during the process of this all happening, and I wake up because I can't get my bed assembled.
Right.
I can't get my bed. It's all what is it? What's that word for when things are in order? It's all yeah, it's all that anyway.
Right.
So basically, things have got to line up, and effectively, it's like that show. You know, it's 13 seconds to disaster. If things don't line up perfectly, none of this will happen, and it won't be 13 seconds from disaster.
That's like your life being narrated, though. Someone going 30 seconds to disaster.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's right.
AZ's immune system will either respond appropriately or go completely out of control and eat his own internal organs. He's 30 seconds from disaster.
That's right. So you're gonna eat that spare pudding there, AZ? Well, yeah, I thought I might. But 13 seconds from disaster.
You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh.
Or shit yourself. So I had an anecdote going on and it went away.
Possums.
But yeah,
That's where we were.
I was being
That's where I handed over to you, man.
yeah,
Possums.
I got taken advantage of by a possum. So I'm very, very tired and have been for quite a while. Angry can take you through it if you want, but I haven't been sleeping at all for about a month. I've literally been getting an hour's sleep a week, and it's not okay. My brain is still actually, as you can hear, I'm still not putting words and concepts together correctly, and I'm still not quite getting my thoughts all lined up.
That's what sleep debt does to you. Yeah,
it's what sleep debt will do to you, and you'll get over it. You'll get past it. But it's a very strange animal to live inside.
It is.
I can see now why there's a lot of countries who are starting to think about legislation to say that if you've had a baby, or if you've got very small children, or if you have a night shift job, that you're not allowed to drive because the sleep deprivation.
Oh yeah,
so bad. They've measured that it's worse than drunk driving. That it is more. It is rapidly onset dangerous. Okay. A problem happened.
Richard was wondering if the possum was a Catholic priest.
Could be.
Yeah. When you said take advantage of, I was going to ask, was it actually really a small, hairy ethnic man? But Richard thinks it might have been a Catholic priest. Yeah.
Well, it could have been both. You know, I'm not going to be bloody discriminatory here, and say that my opossum can't be a small, hairy Catholic priest. but I'm going
I've
to
known
say,
some small hairy Catholic priests. Yeah.
you know, I'm just
I'm
going
just going
to say,
to. I'm off to get a fluffy duck, so
Okay.
I'll be back
nice.
soon.
Nice.
Good. I'm actually preparing. This is going to be for tomorrow night to share with Mrs. Angry. One of our.
Yeah.
I'm just mad on this clarified milk drive, and because it's good if I do this overnight. This is our favorite one, a sidecar, which is just brandy and Cointreau and lemon juice. So I just add that to the milk, and because it's really funny because I was explaining this to someone on social media that you actually curdle the milk to make it, and they're like, no, as soon as you say curdled milk, psychologically, I can't deal with it. And I said, and I absolutely agree. This is the most counterintuitive thing I have ever done. Just like, oh yeah, I'm going to add milk to my drink, which then curdles, but that's fine. That's all part of the plan. Like, and because cheese comes from curdled milk. So, we have a long history of getting the best out of curds from milk. But
We do.
I'm going to sit this in the fridge for about, I don't know, half an hour to an hour to settle. And then I'm going to run it through the filter, which will probably take a long time. But I'll have a really nice drink for tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes you've got to be patient and wait for things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've just got to wait until after the commercial to see something happen.
Yeah.
Or you've got to see something happen beyond your vision strength. And so the poor piggy gets it. It was about vision. Oh, that's what it was. Basically, yes. There's a lot of stuff that's getting better with vision, and your excuses are going away. I don't know where those comes from. Look, just take it off me.
Look, can I? Am I moving between your ears now? Am I going from? Is that working?
You are going through my ears right now. If you did it in and out wah way, that would be quite damaging to my head. So I'd give it a shot.
All right,
give it a go. No. Wah. Let's go. Take it on. Let's go, Superman.
The different features on the microphone, just going back and forth and doing.
I'm loving the bloody not back and forth. It's called spatial variation. But if you gave it some wah or some sonic, that'd be really, really good.
I'm definitely, because now I've got this flash microphone, I'm definitely gonna at some point do a podcast. And I know every time I say this, you revolt and threaten violence and whatnot. But I'm so gonna do like an ASMR podcast where I just like talk into one side of and like clink other side.
Doing the ASMR podcast, I will help you with the ASMR podcast. And it'll be along the lines of, are you enjoying yourself, Angry? Is it going well, mate? Is everything like you expected it to be? Because I can hear you chewing. And someone urinating in the toilet before. But it's probably just someone needs to press the button. Anyway, who else needs to? Yeah, if you want to do ASMR anything, I will help you. I will help the shit out of you. I have no longer. I've decided to be as of the reed.
Yeah.
I
The
have,
blow with the wind.
yeah, do you know my father, who is, you've got to understand, he's a very, he's a strangely, um, uh, 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 orthodox, what is it, conservative guy.
Hmm.
But his politics are leftist.
Yes. Yeah. He's a conservative person, but not I vote for the Liberal Party conservative. Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing that always surprised the shit out of me, and you got to know, right, as a
Hmm.
kid growing up in Catholic Canberra in AIDS days, where being gay could get you killed, and
Hmm.
often did,
Hmm.
he would turn around and basically defend gays,
Hmm.
and say, no, they're just guys who are trying to live their life. Me dear mother was more anti than he was.
Yeah.
Though as soon as I came out, she was like immediately, no, gay's good. That's where it is. It's where it's always been.
Yeah.
And she's good like that. Very 1984 with her thinking when it comes to her children. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, uh, uh, I was here we were talking about guys. We were talking about
Yeah.
1994 and the 1980s. Come on, man. There was a point here. It
Uh,
was, oh yeah. My old man with his conservatism
yes.
um, had some very strange conservatisms, and some very strange non-conservatisms.
Hmm.
And so yeah, one of them was he was basically quite happy with gays living their lives in peace and harmony. Um, he was also quite um, he was he was quite happy with um, your religion being allowed to be uh, excluded from the city square.
Okay.
So if you had the city boundaries, he
Hmm.
was quite happy for your religion to be expelled from the city boundaries. And if you wanted to come back into the city, you could pay taxes,
Hmm.
and you could treat everything that you are doing like a business. So you have to set up like, cool, because they already have bloody tax file numbers. Um, it's just that they don't pay any bloody tax.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, it would be effectively, yeah. Here's the way of the world, and the tax that you need to pay.
Yes.
Um, uh, bloody. So he had some very strange conservatisms, and some very strange freedoms and liberalities.
Hmm.
Um, uh, oh man, there was a heap. Um, one of
Do you know who
the
you made me think of with supporting gays? There's an Australian comedian called Steve Hughes who kind of looks like a biker. And he's like, I'm not very politically correct, but he's actually funny as opposed to most people who say shit like that. And he's old. He's like older than you and I think.
yes,
And
yes, yes,
he had one routine about, I don't understand why people say, gays are weak. That makes no sense at all. You think you're weak? You think they're weak? You man enough to take your dick up your ass? Okay? If you think you're so tough, bend over, mate. See how well you go with a dick up your ass. And it's just like, And the reaction to people in the audience, because he does this sort of, oh, I'm in your face and whatnot, and they're all going, yeah, man, yeah. And he starts saying, you're not man enough to take a dick up your ass. And you get these guys in the audience going, what? And all the women laughing hysterically. And all these guys who were cheering up to that point feeling really sort of, what? What? You're saying I'm not met? And because you can just imagine the guys who are so easily challenged and also homophobic, as sudden having to resist the urge to go, I'm definitely man enough to take a dick up my ass. Oh no, wait, what? And it's like, well, you know, are you scared or what? What's going on here? But oh look, we've been joined by Sean Bean, and I can't even see who that is in the other picture, but it's got a Game of Thrones placeholder. It is really
one of the things that happened.
It's Jon Snow.
Okay. Okay, there you go.
So one of the things.
Yes. That was happening with getting bloody LGBTQ normalized act go down was that they were being basically outed and ousted by the audience early on. And this comedian you're talking about and a few others were basically saying, look, it's all very well saying that you guys are fags and are different and weak and useless to you. But remember that they have had the shit kicked out of them on many occasions, and have been robbed, have had their housing taken off them, have been fired from their job. There was one guy in Canberra who wouldn't leave his council flat. This is an Australian federal government appointed place, and the case manager of that area was so very Christian and so very homophobic that he organised for a group of local toughs to burn the fucking house down while these two guys were at work. They burnt the fucking house down, and the neighbours saw these guys just stroll in happily and take cans of petrol with them and fucking set the place on fire. They smashed the door in, walked in, and just fucking started a fire. It's it's a very different world. Health is very different, and basically the idea that I don't know, that nothing can be the same and yet be fine. I've really buggered that up, haven't I? Sorry.
I said that's okay. Sometimes we go off the rail. Hey, Sandy at Environmental Coffee House. How are you this morning for you? Obviously, evening for us. Yeah. See, David got the sensible attitude. Doesn't matter if you're hetero or gay. Let people lead their lives. Essentially, if they're not hurting anyone.
Oh, fuck you, David. With your bloody eat and let leave. How am I going to make money out of that? I can make fucking cash out off that. I can be Donald Trump and say, we have the statistics. We know that the gay gives you COVID-19. We have started the process of making the wall kill the gays like they did back in my grandpa's day in the camps.
Yeah.
We
I think-
have the numbers. They're all set up in the databases, and I really should stop
No,
saying anything.
Stella sounds like she's on a quest to see how tough hetero guys are by sporting a strap on. And I was like,
Really? Wow.
shit, suddenly you've got AD's
I mean,
interest. You've got
I
his
know
attention.
some people like getting pegged. I've tried it a few times, and we'll never do it
Okay,
again.
child.
I
Can
will
you go
never
now?
do it again.
Okay. I don't know.
It's a thing that will really unmake my day.
That's fair. And we're just sorry, I was just pausing you. Okay, for the young one to leave the room, but now we can go for it. So actually along those lines of how tough you and whatnot and homophobia, I remember another comedian, sort of redneck comedian from Texas called Ron White. He had a very funny thing because he was actually on the tour of what was called a blue collar comedy tour. Had that guy who was famous for the "you might be a redneck if," and so they're conservative white comedians. But he's really funny. He had this one, and we just randomly just goes, "Homophobia is the stupidest damn thing I've ever heard of. Why would you even bother? Why do you care?" And he said, "Besides, everyone's a little bit gay anyway." I said, yeah, and the audience laughs. He goes, "I said that to a friend of mine. Don't be homophobic. Everyone's a bit gay." And he goes, "I'm not. God damn it." He goes, "Really, really? Okay. Do you watch porn?" And the guy goes, "Hell yeah, I'm a red-blooded American man." And he's going, "Fine. So do you only watch lesbian porn?" You go, "No, I watch fucking." It's like, okay, so you watch porn that has guys in it. Do you make sure to never see an erect penis, that they're always flaccid? "No, they get in there and they're fucking." And I just learned something about myself. Like, yeah, I only enjoy the porn if there's a big hard dick in it. And I was like, "Oh, what? Whoa, geez."
Yes, yes.
That's how I talk to somebody. Yeah.
Had to talk to a young fellow. I was part of an outreach group because I was doing this whole I'm giving back to the community. It was 10 years since my friends had died of AIDS, and I thought it's really been a lot of work done on AIDS and AIDS outreach, and it's all been fucking shithouse. And so I thought I'd better go and do something decent about it. And the shithouse part was that young guys basically still didn't know what to think, where to go, what to do, or how to react. In the moment between something might have gone wrong and I might have to account for something that I've already done. And in that moment, in this crossover point, I might be dying, and I might have the most incredible stress in my life that's ever happened. And all of a sudden, my family's getting health bills that are going through the roof. And my my absentee days at school are going through the roof because effectively OR ward doctors are going, yeah, no, if we don't get these antivirals like slammed into you so fast, bad things are going to happen very quickly. And what ends up happening is these people end up dying of AIDS, but it ends up happening so much later. than it did initially. Initially, you'd get AIDS. 3 months later, you'd be dead. Sorry, 3 to 6 months later, you'd be
Yes,
dead.
it was very in the early days.
Yeah, a massive variation. And but in Canberra, it was 3 months. The thing also there was that eventually people came round. Eventually, people got it together to get their dose, and they were happy with that. They could go straight to the hospital and get dosed straight at the hospital. Had to watch them though, because they could quite quickly give you a thump behind your head while you were talking to their associate in front of you. Very unpleasant world, this place. And yeah, please give us your money and fuck off and die. Anyway, so these guys were basically in this scenario where they were freaking out. They didn't know what to do or who to talk to, or any of that. And so we were doing a bit of outreach to help with stuff like that. And our stuff, bizarrely enough, was about organizations where if you got caught, very bad things would happen to you immediately. It was the kind of thing where you get caught. You're in the Catholic Church, like a student in the Catholic Church. If you get caught being a poofter, you're gone. If you're in the army and you get caught being a poofter, you're gone.
Yeah.
If you're in the what was another good one that was really quite classic? Well, any of the services, obviously. Oh yeah, the police. It was the same. And the argument was, there's a twofold argument. Was that the loyalty was not necessarily going to be to the police first. It was going to be a split between the police and the bloody poofs. The other thing was that you might be blackmailed. Someone might find out that you were a cocksmoker, and they might use that information to determine making you get them information, or making you behave yourself, or you'd have to get a new job, or you'd have to do what you could to stay out of this particular prison. That's effectively what did happen. But yeah, it wasn't always it wasn't an easy thing to get. Just trying to do this in the shortest way possible, with
That's
a little
okay.
bit of
Kind of
meat.
lost way.
No. This has got a bit of meat to it, and I'm just trying to finish it up without making it too long. But yeah, that's what would happen is that these organisations would basically try and blackmail pufters, and so what you get in history is these organisations of pufters trying to protect themselves, but also the organisations they were in. They would try and protect the armed services they were in. They would try and protect the police services they were in, and the whole they're going to be blackmailed and they're going to be a big security risk. Never happened. It was never a thing because they never coughed up. They always made it so that they would be of service to their people and their country. It's there's ways and means. So what I'm saying is being a big old pufter is a fine and dandy thing if you're prepared to take on the probable hassle. It's a scary thing if you're not prepared to walk through the dark to get to the other side, because you feel something slimy and it's a wet mop. You feel something furry and it's a dry mop. But these things in a darkened cupboard for 24 hours will send you insane. And bloody, then there's the othering. Jones is a pufter and should be left out of all secure conferences. Jones is a pufter and should be left out of all information about the new aircraft. Jones is a pufter and should be left out of all of the flights to other countries.
Yeah, it's the idea that if someone had something to hide, they could be blackmailed.
Yes, and you, of course, point out who they are by putting them through their punishment flights and going, it's this guy. So if you want to blackmail someone, go grab them. And the thing that
I've noticed a rise in othering on YouTube amongst, I guess I would say, millennial aged YouTubers. Since the virus came out, since we're all having to sit at home and feel scared.
Yes.
And it's starting to get a little feral out there.
Yeah, I think people are going stir crazy a bit. Speaking of stir crazy, Joe Stratus in the chat saying, I got 2 nurses. Oh, was that Lee's there on a camera? I just noticed. He got 2 nurses' numbers today while getting 11 stitches in his dick because apparently banjo strings snapped and made a murder scene in the kitchen. That just sounds 10 different kinds of unpleasant.
Can I just point out that there's everything right about this scenario? Everything right has been made known as the banjo murder.
The banjo murder.
10 stitches, yes. Banjo string snapping, yes. A murder scene everywhere, yes.
You know what's also right? That nurses are willing to give their numbers to a man with an injured dick.
Yeah, well, he's not going to get up to much. Sorry, Joe. We are now going to have a series of terrible jokes. But I think we knew that when you brought up the fact that you've got stitches in your dick, that we're not going to be able to. You know, you don't want to pop a stitch, buddy. You've got to stay very calm for quite a while.
Someone has a very loud background, Mr. Aspie.
Yeah. Oh, Peter was wondering, AD, your random selection of Jones as the person who was a bad security risk, whether or not you were thinking about Alan Jones being a bad security, because I don't know, he's a weirdie. Speaking of closeted people, who could get in trouble because they won't just be open. He's had this weird thing happen recently. Like, he had a butler. Jones is rich enough to have a butler, and he had this guy who'd been in his service for at least 15 years. And then Jones has recently got a personal assistant who's a very young man. And after this guy had been in situ for a while, Jones's long-term butler upped and quit. Just went, no, I'm not fucking dealing with this anymore. And then his replacement quit only a couple months later. So something is going on in the Jones household that it's making people going like, no, fuck you. I'm having nothing to do with this. I'm leaving. And this is a guy who
assumed that perhaps some undue authority has been given to this young and inexperienced man who is the personal assistant, and that he's swinging his dick a bit much. Yeah. But
it's not going to be homophobia. Like, someone who worked for Jones for a decade, 2 decades or more is not going to be homophobic, and is not going to be bothered if Alan Jones has a long-standing preference for very young, pretty men. It's going to be something like the guy's been given too much authority, and the butler's just gone, okay, I follow your orders, I don't follow his orders. And it's just like, it's going to be he's been given too much authority.
Yeah. And he's probably a dick about it. He's probably like on cocaine and being a dick or something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably incredibly rude. Oh no, Joe's got the Betty Hill jokes going about his injury. Was in the neighbour's wife, now it's in ice cream. Oh dear, that's
oh dear. Is that a bit like Bert and the Garden Gnomes?
Yeah. Ah, yeah. Shelf warmer. Chatham House rules. Alan Jones loves Chatham House rules. For those who don't know what that phrase means, it means when you're in a public place giving a speech, everyone in attendance agrees they will never repeat outside of these walls what they have heard inside these walls. And when Alan Jones notoriously gave the incredible, vile and obnoxious speech about Julia Gillard's father died of shame and she should be put in a chaff bag and thrown out to sea because he's with a bunch of other Liberal Party fuckheads, he thought he was in safe company. But other people were so reviled by how obnoxious he was, they just went to the media and went, oh, by the way, at this little soiree we had last night, Alan Jones said this shit. And so then Alan Jones called a press conference to apologise for his absolutely vile and despicable comments about Julia Gillard. And yeah, but he just had a big hissy fit and went, I thought it was Chatham House rules. He was upset that anyone found out how vile and disgusting he is behind closed doors. So,
see, I'm vile and disgusting, but it's not. I can't close the doors. I mean, I think the last time Angry seen me, I was in adult diapers trying to clean up a carpet.
Yes, adult diapers failed in their primary task, I will just say now, without going into very graphic detail. But
oh no, I was in very graphic detail. I was just going, I have a lot to do and very little resources to do it. So, you know, there's nothing Chatham House about me or my world. It's a very refreshing place to live. When people go, aren't you that guy who does that fucking thing with fucking kids? No.
No.
Because I fucking heard you didn't hear that from anyone. No one said that.
This is what I'm concerned about. There's a YouTuber who I used to watch because she's very entertaining and she offers advice, and it's it's a bit rubbish, really. But sometimes she comes out with some pearlers. She comes out with some really good stuff, but she's really cynical. Anyway, about all of just a dozen, maybe 2 dozen YouTubers of that age group, of millennial age group, I guess, are just going for her, calling her a pedophile because she's written a few thirsty tweets 10 years ago about Justin Bieber.
Right.
Still a teenager.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, look, she deserves a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
But that's going too far. You know? And like,
yeah.
So,
no.
Are you the guy who does that, or the girl who does that thing with the kids, the underage kids? No.
No, that's a big no. We all, I think we can agree that's no. I noticed in the chat Frankie mentioned MGTOWs, MGTOW, which is an acronym for a subgroup of MRAs, men's rights activists, called Men Going Their Own Way. And they claim that what they want is nothing to do with women, which would be super fine and everyone would be happy, as Stella said, if they would just fuck off and go their own way and not obsess about, if they literally wanted to lead their lives without women, that's completely legitimate and go for it. But they want to say this ridiculous phrase and at the same time obsess non-stop about women. And Frank likes to call them men grabbing their own willies, because certainly no one else is going to do it for them. But they're weird and bitter people. And look, I actually happen to be a man, and I happen to have first-hand experience of shitty societal things that work out often quite badly for men. But approaching those issues and dealing with them and getting some appropriate justice, for want of a better word, doesn't involve shitting on women. And because I'm a white dude, it also doesn't involve shitting on black people.
I'm gonna,
What are you saying, AZ?
No, the timing just got blown out. I was going to jump in there with black people and women.
Probably just saved us from, again, prosecution under hate crime laws. But I keep making that joke about you, because we often refer to AZ's stage show Code Grey. I didn't just video the show. You can go on YouTube, look up AZ Code Grey, see this fantastic show. But the channel that we set up for it, and the channel is actually called AZ Code Grey. Also, a lot of rehearsal video, behind the scenes video, interviews. Really worth catching up on if you haven't. But there was one where off camera, there was a couple of us there, the Reverend Doctor. Oh, that's nice, Annette. Oh, that's a pretty
Isn't it? These things.
Yum.
I've got a bunch of them. Well, not many left. I've got this one.
Very nice.
Ooh,
very nice to keep out of Shaylee's hands, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
nice.
There's one rehearsal video where a bunch of us were saying very questionable things, and AZ saying to the other people in the room, I'm not saying we have to stop saying this conversation altogether, but we are videoing this, and if we're going to be able to do, like, put this on YouTube, if we could reduce the number of hate crimes per minute, that would be good. And everyone says, "Oh, get fucked." It's right. Okay, all of you, suck my dick. Go away. And AZ was the one actually telling other people to stop with the hate crimes so we could actually use the video. So I always have a go at him, but he is actually quite aware of when people are going off the deep end, and boys will be boys and all that sort. I think you've got petit fours, Nat. I've got to grab something.
I will say things while Angry's gone. You'll notice once again that I appear to be quite dopey, and I'm not actually on drugs. It's just that I haven't slept again. Oh, nice shirt.
You like the shirt? I don't even know what it's meant to be. I think it's meant to be Ghost in the Shell or something.
You know, I reckon it is.
Yeah. I got it in a lot.
So
I'm not sure what it's meant to be.
Get me an image of it.
Show you again.
Can I get you to get me an image of it? Oh, I suppose if you can stand near the camera, I can see it.
Yeah. I'll try once more.
Your child makes my dog bark.
It is Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah. See, Annette, I've got little. These are called.
What have we got there?
They're not. They're kind of like petit fours. What do they call them? They call them French fancies. This is the thing I got from the supermarket. They call them French fancies. They're just pure sugar, basically.
But in pretty combinations.
Yeah. Very pink. Very manly.
This one's a lemon meringue pie. But
oh, wow. I love lemon.
It's my favourite. I'm leaving it till last.
Okay.
This is my dinner, by the way, and my lunch, and my breakfast. Okay. I ordered 2 lots.
Oh wow!
This is my birthday. It's my birthday.
Yeah, birthday treats all the way. I actually had a chicken curry for dinner that my daughter made. She's actually been really good in this. We're all at home all the time. She cooks a lot. And it used to be me who cooked all the time, but she's just got really in the mood to cook. She's been making bread. She's been making sourdough. She's been making dinners. It's great.
Cool.
Sorry, I was just looking. Frank said he actually once animated me shooting a MGTOW with a cannonball, which is nice.
Hey, thank you for the happy birthday, Frankie. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, happy birthday.
Birthday bash for Annette.
Thanks, guys.
I might have orange juice.
Good man.
That'd be
good. Good.
Hang on, let me just put this. Well, we will be together.
We'll be together sunny day. Oh, more birthday.
We will do. Hey, Angry.
Yeah, mate.
You can remember this, can't you?
Sure.
One little boy, one little man. Funny how time flies.
You are saying crazy things. What?
One little man, one little boy. Funny how time flies.
No.
It's the introduction to a oh well, that was that gone.
Two little boys had 2 little toys.
Yeah, see,
and there it is, song.
All burnt to the ground.
I have like a post-punk weird version of 2 Little Boys by a British band called Splodge and Espouse, who were kind of famous for a track that was just called 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, please. And it's just this really loud music playing, and one guy just keeps going, 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, please. 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, please. And it's like guys trying to order at a pub, and the music just keeps playing, and no one else is. You just go, I want 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, and I've got all the right money, and I'm ready right here, please. Thank you very much. And it's only about 2 minutes long. And it just, by the end, he's just screaming in desperation, 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, please. And then this bell just rings and just goes, time, please, gentlemen, time. And it just finishes with this guy crying as the music fades out. That was what they wanted.
It feels when you're a short woman and you can't get served.
Yeah. That was what they're most famous for. But I got 2 of their singles, and one of them is like 4-track, and it has a cover of the Rolf Harris song, 2 Little Boys, but it's done in this very post-punk style. It starts off as if it's going to be, and then it just rips into the guitar riff, and it's really quite funny. The other song they were famous for was called Michael Booth's Talking Bum. So it's like, he's got the only talking bum in the world.
You know what that sounds like? It sounds like the Chats. It sounds like music that the Chats would do.
The Chats 30 years earlier. Yes, it's the Chats 30 years earlier.
Yeah.
No, I reckon if you played these tracks to the Chats, they'd do a cover version of them. Those guys are funny. Like the guy who's got that really brutal mullet, whenever they get interviewed, someone tries to say something about his haircut, and he just acts like he doesn't know what they're talking about. He's got this really savage undercut mullet, and they always want to say something about his haircut, and he's going, What do you mean? What about my hair? And it's like, those guys are funny.
They're great. They're just... has he got the redheaded stepchild vibe going or what?
Oh, very much so. Those guys are the suburban outcasts, those boys. Leave me alone! Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, it's kind of
builders.
It's kind of one joke, but they're still funny. They did. I don't know. There's this classic bit of Australiana. This guy who was a notorious dash and dine guy. He would always go to restaurants and have meals and then run out without paying and saying they couldn't force him to pay. And there's this famous bit of news video of him being arrested and dragged down. And he's got this faux British accent, and he's going, "What's the crime, officer? Enjoying a succulent Chinese meal?"
Succulent. I know exactly the one, and what it was. What it was the colonial thespian accent. Yes. My father had a colonial accent, so I kind of know it.
Yeah.
So yes, he was colonial thespian, and he was most grandiose.
Yes. And then he starts thinking about the coppers trying to grab his penis as well. What are you doing, young man? You grabbing me by the penis? But the Chats used him in their most recent video. They actually have him in it. They do this thing because the song's called Dash and Dine or something. And at the end, they run out of – they're in a really expensive restaurant that they run out of. But outside, they're getting arrested. And this guy appears, goes, "What are you doing to those young men? What's the crime, officer? Enjoying a meal?" It's just like –
That's fucking excellent. I am texting my child who is in his bedroom to tell her about that.
Yeah, just look up the Chat's most recent music video, and that dude or someone who looks a lot like him is at the end of the video going, "What's the charge, officer? Enjoying a succulent meal?" It's just a very, very weird bit of it. Someone did a thing actually when Julian Assange got bundled out of that embassy that he was hiding out in, and he got arrested, and he's sort of arguing and fighting on the way. Someone just overdubbed the audio of this guy with a succulent Chinese meal, and it looked so fun because Julian Assange is like arguing and protesting, but it's instead of Julian Assange, it's this audio going, "What's the crime, officer? Enjoying a succulent Chinese meal? Young man, you have your hand on my penis. What are you doing?" And it's
That guy is just a classic. Actually, I didn't even know about him until my teenager told me all about him and showed me the video.
I didn't know
He's my favourite.
I didn't know about him when someone posted this Julian Assange video, and I just said, I don't get the joke. And they linked me to the original, and I was, because it's like from the 80s or something. I'm like, this is just crazy. What is this? This guy
It must have gone viral. It must have gone viral with the young'uns about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, boom, it's coming up everywhere.
Yeah. This guy was apparently notorious for going into restaurants and then not paying the bill, basically saying, well, you can't make me. What are you going to do? And so his face was known to all the restaurateurs. So the 50th time he did it in this upmarket Chinese restaurant, they called the cops and he got arrested because he was known to the police. And someone had called the media because he was really quite notorious. And so there's this thing of him being bundled out, going, "What's the time, officer? Enjoying a succulent Chinese meal?" It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Wonderful. Have you got my penis?
You know, guys, you might think it's funny that people can be hassled for enjoying a succulent Chinese meal, but there's people around the world who'd like to enjoy a succulent Chinese meal, I being one of them, except that I am not allowed to speak with, talk to, or imitate Asians of any kind because of my racism and basically because of just stuff and my racism.
Yeah, it's like go out to dinner with AIDSy and you say, "Oh, we can't go Chinese," and they go, "Oh, is he allergic to MSG? No, he's just very racist."
It's very racist.
Very, very racist.
Do you know what was tragic? Was that we were setting up for my 50th. We were setting up for my 50th, and we were going to go to my favourite restaurant in Canberra with my family. And it is one of the best Chinese restaurants I have ever been into in the world. And it's just a simple little, suburban place. When you get strip mall shops, it's like just in one of them, and it's the most gorgeous place. You get in there, and it's like this Art Deco world you've just stepped back into, with these cranes fighting and dancing. And then you go, oh, well, you like the it's just easier to do the combination, the platters, and as they come in the combination meal. Yeah, all right. 4, and they count them off. 15, and you go, oh Jesus, we're going to be fucking having to drill for oil, and and out they come, and they say, oh, individual or shared, and it's always shared, and it's just fucking phenomenal. When the first thing that comes out is the jasmine tea, that you start drinking the jasmine tea and going, oh, I could just stop here.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. I could just not worry about anything else. I could just drink this, which is fine. And unfortunately, my youngest nephew has pretty bad allergies. Nice one, cockhead.
Ruining it for everyone.
Yeah, ruining it for everyone else's fucking dining experience. What's that like, motherfucker? And so we don't go there anymore, which is a shame. But it's just one of those experiences that, if I put it this way, Angry, if the plan works, we're going there. You and I are going there.
Oh yeah.
And I would very much like the plan to work this year. just to give boss of the house a bit of a break, and to basically give Aidsy a bit of a break. Because you know, I'm about to try and borrow money from I don't know who, to basically get medicine for the next 4 days, and there's none to have, and I'm just going, oh shit, I'm in trouble again.
I'll tell you what, I'll send you a succulent Chinese meal, mate.
Yeah, at the very least, when Uncle Dan Andrews says we're allowed to, I'll take you out for a succulent Chinese meal. But look, look how gross my milk punch looks at the moment. The curds have started to have.
Oh yeah, right.
It absolutely looks disgusting, but it's going to end up. I just got to think.
They look amazing though. At the end of the day, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's just like coffee filter in a funnel, and I just got to pour it through. Pour all the curds in. A little trick, because the curds do a lot of the actual filtering. Got to let a lot of the liquid will go through first, and that'll actually be a little bit cloudy.
Shit.
And so you let that go through, and by about now, it eventually slows to it's just going a drip at a time, so it takes forever to go through. So
there you go.
We do a little bit of about face and even pour that first lot back in. And now I'm just going to let that go. And it's going to filter. And it'll take a... Oh, no. Oh, now it's making me want to pee because it's making that little... The microphone might pick it up if I bring it over here. It sounds like someone... You know, when you hear someone... You hear the noise of running water and you have to pee. Am I making everyone have to pee? I'm going to put it in the fridge.
Trying not to.
Yeah. But that's for tomorrow.
It's working. It's working for those who hold the Lord in their hands.
Yeah. You know what, when you were saying about your just ordinary suburban Chinese one, you made me want to bloody go back to Dubbo, and of all places, there's a really good Chinese restaurant there, Tom Su's, Mi Li Wa. We actually, I swear to God, I knew every family in Dubbo growing up that wasn't Caucasian. There's mostly white people, quite a few indigenous families, and there was 2 Chinese families who were cousins. They both had the same surname. There was 2 Italian families that were also cousins and had the same surname. And there was 1 Greek family. And that was it. Oh, no, there was 1 Indian family too. And that was it for ethnic diversity in Dubbo. I knew everyone who wasn't white because there were so few of them.
You know, that doesn't surprise me. I had family holidays with family friends up around Gunnedah. Doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. You're making me jealous making those really desserty drinks. I'm going to make myself a desserty drink as well to join you. So
cool. I'm such a sugar fiend, you know.
Yeah. I got to get my straw. I better get a straw. I don't feel right without a straw. Strawberry chocolate liqueur.
Yum! I need that.
This one's quite good. It's Mozart.
Is that emojis? It looks like
makes me want to drink.
Mint. What?
Yeah, Mozart make a few different chocolate liqueurs. This one they call strawberry white chocolate cream. So, So I've got to do that. I think I'll get some white creme de cacao. And Ooh, where's my white cream? There. What? Okay, it's got to be fruit flavored. What fruit flavor should I put in? Should it be cherry? Should it be banana?
Ooh. To go with your
orange.
strawberry chocolate.
Yeah, so it's like strawberry, chocolate, and I want a fruit flavor. Should it be orange or banana or cherry?
I think cherry would boost that berry feel in it, that berry taste.
Cherry. My maraschino liqueur. Oh, I've got to put some ice in my shaker to chill it all. Right. Let's go.
This is a fluffy duck.
Yeah, this is kind of like a fluffy duck. I'm just randomly putting my desserty things in it. I don't have any advocaat, but this will do. In the meantime, where's my thing? Okay, so.
Well, you know what makes the fluff in the fluffy duck?
What?
Having some thickened cream in it, shake it up, and then you pour some lemonade or some fizzy onto it. That makes it all fluffy.
Well, this strawberry one is very creamy, so I don't even really need to add any extra cream. So that and some creme de cacao. Frank thinks this looks like an apple. Yeah, it's a big red apple.
Hey, Aidsy, you're from Canberra, aren't you? Were you in Canberra in the 90s? Oh, he's got to put his ears on.
Annette's asking if you're in Canberra in the 90s, Aidsy.
I was indeed in Canberra in the 90s, and I was motoring back and forth between Canberra, Bathurst, and Sydney.
Okay. So did you know a band called Prick Harness? Also known as P Harness.
Oh, okay, yes. Only briefly before I bailed.
That was such a good band. They were so
pretty good.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were a lot of fun. They were a good night out. And they tended to have to do it hard. Because there was a lot of people going, "Oh, it's Pete Harness, we're going to go," and so 400 or 500 people would turn up, and they'd be going, like, entertain us for 4 or 5 hours. Okay.
The gigs just went on and on. I found them in Wollongong.
Yes.
I came across them in Wollongong. My boyfriend / fiance / husband of the 90s, he had mates in Wollongong, so we were down there often. And we just seemed to stumble across them, and that was so cool. Like, even now I'm going, Agatha Christie, what a mystery, and my kids have no idea what I'm talking about. And, they had some really fucking rude, silly songs.
Mm-hmm.
They were awesome, as you would expect from a band named Prick Harness.
Yes.
Yes.
However, there was controversy with Prick Harness. People of the northern parts of New South Wales thought it should have been called Meat Tray. So I don't want to get in the middle of this.
What are we in? What did I miss?
Basically a band called Prick Harness that has also been called Meat Tray, but I just don't want to get in the middle of this as a controversy. And I was smiling because it was my best joke all night. So I went for it, but what are you going to do?
I understand.
My favourite novelty band from my misspent youth when I was in Sydney were called the Tall Shirts. They're all in other bands, and they're very weird sort of country and western tinge stuff. The lead singer, Andy, or Lizard Brain Andy, is a huge American guy. absolutely huge American guy, and a lot of the guys in this band were in other bands as well. And one of their songs was inspired by the terrible joke we used to tell our generation. It's like the joke goes, young American Indian brave asks his father, the chief of the tribe, "Father, how do we get names? How do you decide how to name children?"
Oh, I know that one.
When the child is born, the father steps out of the teepee and looks and sees inspiration. So when your sister was born, I walked out and the moon came through the clouds over the mountains. That's why your sister's known as Moon Over Mountains. When your brother was born, I stepped out and majestic buffalo was charging across the plain. That's why your brother is known as Charging Buffalo. Why are you asking me these questions, two dogs fucking? And this band, Tall Shirts, had a song that was called Two Dogs Fucking, and that was literally all it was. They would just be thrashing out, and the lead singer, this huge guy with this big booming voice, would just be dancing across the stage going, two dogs fucking, two, and that was it. And they had a residency at the Annandale Hotel, which was
I used to live down the road from there.
Yeah, I was like one suburb away in Redfern, and I would walk down because I didn't have a car. I would walk down to the Annandale Hotel for their residency, and the way they used to do it, they would play some really cheesy song really gently, and then they'd rip into two notes. I walked in one night, and they're just doing feelings, nothing more than feelings, and they played that for about 60 seconds. And
that was a fucking a bloody a travesty of an evening. You know, that was it was a night that could have gone somewhere with love and touching and physical touching. But no, they had to go and ruin it.
Yeah.
They also the Macca's across the road from the Annandale.
Yeah.
I used to live down that street.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. I lived over in various times I lived in Redfern or Newtown. So it was like a suburb away. I'd walk up there.
I never lived in Newtown, so you're cooler than me.
Yeah. Well, it was more, there was actually this little bit between there's like Redfern, Chippendale, Newtown, but there's this tiny little bit that if you looked on the old maps, it was only about 3 blocks wide, was called Golden Grove. Most people just said it was Chippendale, but I lived on Golden Grove Street, which was on Golden Grove. And as people who knew just goes, oh no, it's like we're in this tiny little area that if you look on the maps, it's called Golden Grove. It's the same postcard as Chippendale. So, but if you got your mail address to street address Golden Grove, the post office knew where it was and you'd get the mail delivered. So it's
a location. Yeah. It's a location address. Yeah, like Camperdown was teeny tiny little suburb. Yeah.
Yeah, most people would think Glebe, but it was Camperdown was actually separate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I used to go to the Buddhist meditation center in Camperdown. Yeah.
Cool. So
if I wore too short a skirt, people would try and pick me up.
Yep.
On the way to the Buddhist.
So we were in the same stomping grounds. You know, the weirdest thing that I discovered, Mrs. Angry was living in Sydney at the same time I was living in Sydney. We moved in some of the same circles. So there is actually
I've got to
a
go.
non-zero chance. All right.
Sorry, Lee, you've got to go.
See ya.
Yeah, I've got a uni work to do, and I've got my Surface Pro coming.
Cool. Oh, okay, cool.
All right,
okay.
see you guys.
Well, good luck.
Love you.
Good luck with the uni. Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye. So, I found this weird bit of trivia that Mrs. Angry and I used to move in similar circles at the same time. So we may well have been like at the same party as each other, but like 20 years before we actually met for real, which is pretty fun. Yeah.
Like Julian Assange, right? Everything I've heard about his life in Australia, I'm like, we just missed each other. We just missed each other. Yeah, I'm sure he's been to a couple of parties that I've been at, but I'm pretty sure I would have noticed the albino at the party. So
you probably would have noticed the cut condoms as well. But
I would have heard about the condoms because girls talk, you know.
Yeah,
I would have heard.
Yeah, you would have seen them.
No, you've lost the thread there, AT.
No,
or you stopped yourself from saying something
I
which gets you a
really
permanent criminal record.
Yeah, that's actionable. He's out of actual embassy now. That's actionable. Didn't he get like the charges dropped or got away with it or something? Got away with it.
He hid for long enough that the authorities said we're not going to bother to pursue these charges anymore.
So then,
but now he has to worry about the Americans getting a hold of him, because if the Americans get a hold of someone who's embarrassed them with acts that they consider espionage, you're in very big trouble.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Well, here's the thing, you know, he's not an American, so fuck you.
No, he's an Australian.
That's not actually a problem.
No, they're perfectly happy to prosecute people who aren't Americans.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. Empires are like that. You know, they do what they want. They got power.
Any country working on an espionage case will take anyone from any nation and prosecute them under the laws that they have. If they can get proper evidence. The British, for example, are actually quite renowned for the lengths they will go to get spot-on proper evidence of espionage before they take a case to trial. And then fuck you 6 ways from Sunday. Does it hurt yet? Because it's about to start burning. There are people who basically get, the money of the gun. You effectively get told it's going to cost you £15 million to reduce your sentence by 1 year per year. So every £15 million you want to put in, you can take a year off your sentence. And the other thing you can do is you can be put in an area of the prison where you can have things like books, computers, access to writing materials, access to stamps, the kinds of things you do to speak to your family, because you only get to see them once every couple of weeks. And basically the other thing that you get is a quiet access to something lethal before your sentence starts. And some of these sentences are quite long, and people aren't real into taking them on.
But then, then sometimes you get a sympathetic president like Obama, and Chelsea gets let out. Chelsea Manning gets let out, and then she gets put back in again.
Yeah, and she got put back in, because she wouldn't testify.
She got let out.
I linked to what I was saying about Mrs. Angry. Defensive wounds was mentioning an interesting one. I have heard these type of stories that people, when they're married, showing each other their baby photos and whatnot, and they kind of recognize, it's like a photo at Disneyland they're both in, and they realize they're both in their families were standing right next to each other at Disneyland on the same day. And so they've got these really similar photos from a holiday when they were toddlers or whatever. They were right next to each other, and 20, 30 years later they get married. Weird coincidences like that. Pretty interesting. I reckon I'm going to go to bed, run a little bit overtime because we've been having fun. Oh, okay. Do we have to keep going for Eddie's birthday?
Hey?
We have to keep going for your birthday, do we?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Because I'm not even drunk, so I'm willing to keep going.
Well, you need to catch up.
I'm pretty spaced, as you can tell, but I'm doing very well. I think I'm putting sentences together very well.
Yes.
I was about to jump all over not Chelsea Manning per se, but and not the Drone King either. Isn't it funny?
Rather fetching, I must say. She's rather fetching.
Okay.
And her moral stand is attractive.
She was very naive because she was serving military, and she was, regardless of the morality of it, she was stealing military secrets and divulging them to the public, and did not seem to understand the severity of what she was doing, because she got away with it for so long. She's like, oh, this is a laugh. I'm getting away with it, because they had such bad security. But as soon as it went public, they just did the forensic search and said, who accessed those files? Oh, Manning accessed those files. And that was the end of that. It's like Edward Snowden knew what was going on. He had all this really damning information, and he said, I make this public. My life as I know it is over. I'm leaving the country before I do it. I'm going into hiding before I do it, because they will be very angry at me. And so he's had to hide in Russia.
May I say something sensitive?
Yes.
It's a little difficult to say, but as the mother of kids who are neurodiverse, I think that it's possible in a situation like this that Chelsea could be, being a trans woman, it's likely that she's neurodiverse. There is some significant and interesting overlap between the neurodiverse community and trans, and that with neurodiversity comes quite a lot of social naivety. A lot of social naivety.
There was definitely a lot of naivety in Chelsea's actions.
And not really understanding, not really being able to think into the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
there's a lot to that.
I have a lot of time for Chelsea.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a slight blunder that she didn't understand. Oh no, they're going to come for you. You might have got away with it at the time, but they will backtrack and they will find you. And there are so many bits of evidence from around the world about the worst crime you can commit is embarrassing a government, because they will fuck you up. You embarrass them, they will get their revenge.
There's a whole genre of TV and movies about, covering shit up.
Yeah.
But I think that she possibly thought that in reality it would coincide more with the way that she saw the world, that if you tell the truth will out. And remember that they used, Assange and friends WikiLeaks and whatnot, would always say the truth will out. And I remember back in the day that I got really sucked into WikiLeaks, that they used to say that over and over again. And I think even it's possible Assange himself has a problem with that same thing.
Oh, he's definitely on the autism spectrum. There's no two ways about it. No two ways about it. But I do not have a high opinion of him because he's so narcissistic. But if I can offer words of defense for him, he was a guy who was always on the outside socially, was always a bit of a fringe guy, didn't really relate to people that well. And he fell into this role, became the figurehead for WikiLeaks. And an enormous number of people,
I didn't become the
enormous number of
WikiLeaks.
people treated him as a god, essentially. They were literally worshipping him and saying, "You're the greatest thing ever." And I think frail, fallible humans can only resist that sort of talk for a limited amount of time. When a non-stop parade of people tell you are godlike and perfect and wonderful, you start to believe you are godlike, perfect and wonderful. And so he acts like a complete asshole because people tell him he's a flawless god. And he is an asshole.
There is also the theory that he's an asshole. There's some really amazing stuff that was exposed in the WikiLeaks, expositions. But there's also been stuff that's been shown to us through the WikiLeaks that's been shocking. In the sense that it's put young soldiers' lives at real peril, at immediate peril. The
WikiLeaks leaks have put people in peril.
That was a concern a lot of people had,
It was a concern, but actually didn't, because the first lot of I was really closely watching it. In fact, I was supposed to be doing my honours year. Instead, I got completely distracted by WikiLeaks. So I was watching WikiLeaks and every little bit of news that came out about them with the kind of intense attention that I should have been giving to my final year. So what happened is that the Defense Department, Department of State or whatever, Hillary, they used language in a very slippery way to make it sound like people had died, but they didn't. They didn't actually say that. They said people could die because of this or that, and nobody died. Nobody actually died, because the first lot of logs that came out about the Afghan war, the Afghan logs, they were all properly vetted and gone through properly. And it was with the Iraq war logs that it stopped, because the State Department destroyed the relationship between, and of course the British government as well, destroyed the relationship between Assange and The Guardian. And The Guardian cut out and kicked out Assange and turned exactly against him in a way that I will never, ever revive the respect that I had for The Guardian once. I will never respect them again. They will do
pretty shifty. And that's not the only shifty thing The Guardian's done, by the way. And They're better than most media outlets, but that's not the only shifty thing the Guardian's done.
Look, now, after seeing the way that they treated WikiLeaks, I'm not surprised. I would have been surprised, 12 years ago I would have been surprised, but after what happened with WikiLeaks, no.
Yeah.
I can't remember what my thread is because I've had 2 of these.
Yeah.
And 3 Black Russians before that.
Yeah. Well, but the Americans put the fear of God into the Guardian because they basically said, "Oh, journalism be buggered. We're going to file criminal charges on all of you." They panicked. Aussie Gun Bunny, is Aidsy asleep? Well, he's not fully conscious. I'll give you that.
No, he's fine. He's basically giving it a little bit of trying to get that anesthesia thing going on again. The basic story, my friends, is that after several years, how many years is it, Brother Angry?
Depends what we're counting. 10 years since.
We're talking about the very serious high-end opioids, high-end opioid addiction. After being on that for a very long time, have moved over just briefly to being on the nitrous oxide. It's very good as an anaesthetic.
Dentists swear by it.
Nangs.
The nangs. The difficulties with them is that they will actually slip around with your consciousness for little bits of time. And the other difficulty is that they'll desynchronize your brain. It's actually strange. It's difficult sometimes to remember which word you're going for. You're looking for things like disassociation, or
very big words.
Yeah, but they're not. They're words that are supposed to be very useful for chopping down 10 words into one. That's the point of them, and that's why they're very useful. So when you have desynchronization between your words and your intentions, you can't remember where your brain is trying to land, and you can't remember how to get it there. And so your sentences sound very, very sloppy and very, very weird. It's because they're very, very sloppy and very, very weird. The other thing is that one of the things that is a big deal with this NANG's approach to pain relief is that it operates on the idea that you haven't slept very well for a long time. And believe you me, I have slept very, very badly.
Oh, yes.
About a month. I don't know if you know, Ms. G, that for every day for the last month and a half, I've had a crazy lady tell me at night time, about bedtime, how I'm going to die, how she's going to kill me, how her friends are going to kill me. Yeah, it's not very nice of her. Her friend's going to kill me, and how she's going to burn down the house, basically electrocute everyone in the house, and break everything in the house.
I take it because she's originating from inside one's brain. A kill file or blocking is not really available. Ever Everything's
What?
just. Is she originating from inside your own head?
No, she's real.
Oh no!
wow.
Annette, I've been there. She's just across the hall from Aidsy. She's real, and she very much wants to bend the world to her will and tell everyone how they're going to die. She's quite a piece of work, honestly.
I want to meet her.
Oh yeah, no,
No, you don't. You really don't. You really don't. One of the first things that you'll get is you'll get a new name. You'll get told to pay the rent and to fuck off and die, and then you'll start getting suggestions on how that's going to be made possible.
I do want to meet her. I do kind
No,
of.
you don't. You really don't, because she's really very mentally unwell, and she's really quite dangerous. She got caught trying to burn down the house.
Oh shit! And
yeah. So basically,
okay, so she needs to be. So the police need to be aware of her, and they are not. I once had a.
they're aware. They're quite aware, and the processes are in train to make her get to a place where she can have a better chance at getting better health, because she's not going to get it from here, and she's not going to get anything else from here. She lost that. She lost that privilege when she started to damage the people of the house. We've lost half the members of the house because of the damage that she's done. So I've been living through that for the last 2 months, and it's been very difficult. It's also made the boss of the house and my relationship very strained. And that's not a thing that I like. It's also made my relationship between myself and the doctors very annoying, because they're all over they're all over not behaving themselves in a normal and proper way. Did you just have a big sneeze, Angry?
I had a very big sneeze,
because I'm thinking, mate, bit of a sanitize.
Bit of the Rona kicking in with an out of control. Actually, sneezing is not a primary symptom.
Yes,
of the Rona.
I heard that just a little while ago.
Dry cough that you can't shake. That's a bad one.
Isn't that amazing? A dry cough that you can't shake, because a dry cough.
Coronavirus. That's sorry, but that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, no, that's coronavirus primary sign is a dry cough that you can't shake, and a fever. If you get a really bad fever, that is a bad sign as well. So the combination, probably the two primary ones of you not only have the Rona, you're going to get complications from it, are a high fever and a cough you can't get rid of. Apparently it's a sliding scale. A lot of people are basically completely asymptomatic. They show virtually no signs whatsoever. Other people, it never gets worse than a cough and a bit of a fever and a bit of a sniffle. Then some people get what they have described as like turbo influenza. So it's fever, racking cough, and some of the other normal influenza things that, you feel fucked for about a week. You're just really messed up for about a week or even 2. And then it passes. And then, of course, are the unfortunate souls who can't breathe and end up in hospital, and the most extreme of those end up on the ventilators. But so the spectrum of how this affects people is so broad. I find that really fascinating, from people being virtually asymptomatic all the way through to dying, of course. But it's so weird that they're now thinking, because of so many people, it was no worse than a cold or a flu. They're thinking probably a significant number and had it as early as December last year, and it wasn't widely known, and they just wrote it off as a cold or a bit of a flu or whatever. They felt like shit for a week or whatever.
See, this is the thing, right? I've been turning up to the pharmacy with a major sweat on and the sniffles, and I've been thinking no big deal, because I have what do they call it? A corrupted immune system. I have very difficulty, getting my levels back in order. So getting my heat, my temperature back in order, and getting my systems back in the right sort of place. Of course, I turn up. What I look like is this guy with the massive sweats on, with basically red eyes, with clearly what are salt sweat coming out of his eyes, sweat sniffles coming out, and having trouble breathing as I've just walked into the usually pharmacy, as it turns out. Though I'll tell you, so I'm wandering around the pharmacy, and there have been literally people running away from me in the pharmacy, just going, "This fucking guy is the guy." And he doesn't even have a mask on with his little circles in. What a bastard. Clearly he's going to kill us all. The horrible, nasty thing is that all of the pharmacists down the back are laughing. They think it's the funniest thing in the world, because they know that I'm not COVID positive. And I said, what symptom did you know that I wasn't COVID positive? And I said, well, remember when you were asleep for and he went like this, the bastard, asleep for 2.5 hours
asleep
out the front, because I crashed out the front of the pharmacy, right? I hadn't slept in about 3 weeks, but for reals, I hadn't slept in about 4 days straight. I hadn't slept in about 4 days, because I'd had this woman at my door telling me all night, every night, what she was going to do to me and what she was going to do to boss of the house, and that gets on your nerves. And
I love the calm understatement there.
Well, the other thing is you can't actually do much about it legally. You can ring up the cops and go, "She said nasty things about me." Is not much. Do you know the ironic thing was the thing that I got her on was a hate crime. She said basically, you fucking fag, you're going to get a pole up here, you faggy cunt, you're gonna die like you deserve, you queer fag. That I'm a big boy. I've had some nasty things said about me before. Boo hoo. and it's annoying, but I'll live. But it is a hate crime, but what happened was a person that was living in my house basically came out to me during this and said, "I'm very afraid of this situation. I don't know what to do. My religion forbids me from being this way. I can't talk to anyone about this. I can't be seen talking to anyone about this." And I said, "You can, and here's all the information you need. And you do not have to be in fear ever." This guy basically said, "I don't want my situation made public because of the shame of it." And I said, "There's no shame in it." And he said, "Oh yeah, but she's basically made it so that it's going to be that way." And I've just gone, "Okay, no. What's happened here is that her hate crime has basically shut down someone's life, and she can go and get fucked." So, a couple of times when she decided that she was going to play Miss Nasty, I said, "Yeah, so let's just deal with a hate crime, and we'll go from there."
Do you record any of her diatribes?
Do I what?
Do you record them?
No.
You should record them, because eventually they will be going to court, and this is evidence. Also, you can have a what do you call it? A restraining order put on her.
Yes.
It might make her worse, but if it does make her worse, so long as it's a step back from actually destroying stuff, like setting the place on fire, then you can get her removed from the house by the police. I've had to do it.
Okay, so the things that you were talking of, all these processes have actually begun, and these processes having been begun are processes which can be poodled along as quickly as we can get them done. We've rushed them through as fast as we can. The landlady got told by this crazy woman that she was fired and she could leave as soon as she picked up her last check from the real estate agent. She could leave. She didn't like her work, and her call was, "We don't like these chingers bringing this coronavirus here into this country, so you are all fired, and we want you out of here as fast as possible. So pay up your last bits of work pay and piss off out of it." And to watch the landlady listen to this was just priceless. So she was just going, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And
she sounds like a rare case, this woman across the hall. She sounds like a real rare case. Well,
Unfortunately, I am told not rare enough. There is apparently this is not
I have to cross the line from the pedophile schizophrenic, so like, nah, that's pretty rare. I have to go and chat with my child, but Aidsy, we should friend up on Facebook, and I'll help you out with stuff if I've got a little bit of experience with these things. So, when you're feeling less tired,
Yeah.
and
You look after things, Annette. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to say good night, everyone. Happy birthday, Annette.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Annette.
Good night.
We're going to get set up for the AZ 50th attack.
Yeah. Do some legwork on that. So everyone, look after yourselves. Hope you have a good time. I hope to see you again soon. I'll probably be on tomorrow night. All things being equal, I'll probably be on tomorrow night. We'll see what happens.
It's not date night. Isn't Sunday?
It's every second date night's every second weekend, and that was last weekend, so it's not this weekend. But
I bet Mrs. Angry one day.
Oh yeah, when we're able to actually socialise, definitely.
Yeah, I would love to meet her.
So anyway.
Hopefully.
All right. Good night, everyone. Take care of yourself, one and all. See you again sometime.